Our last series of the day is Fr0zen versus Monsanto. Fr0zen came back yesterday and looked like he was in pretty good shape. Was able to do very well and navigate some tough turns against Delay. Monsanto having one of the longest series, or longest games rather,
the longest series, but
of the day.
Yeah.
But also quite some interesting webcam antics. So I want to see what Monsanto is up to for today's matchup. It's a Reno Mage, Control Warrior, Combo Priest, Reno Hunter versus a Reno Mage, Control Warrior, Reno Hunter, and Aggro Rogue. So the Rogue versus the Priest goes head-to-head once more. Oh, also want to point out that with Nalgadon's victory, the Ban Warrior, Protect Warrior strategy has worked out 3-3 so far in Grandmasters.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I think players need to go back to drawing board. Obviously, next week's going to change things, but I'm curious to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
Especially with Dr. Boom going to 9. I don't know if it's going to affect the deck very much, maybe against aggressive decks.
The most successful ban strategy, just by pure win percentage, is a ban Druid strategy. Players have a 100% win rate when they ban Druid.
This only happened twice, right?
In APAC.
Yeah.
And it was Chonsu. Chonsu specifically banned Quest Druid every single time he could.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not playing against that deck.
Yeah.
And he wins.
Whoa.
I mean, that's interesting.
It is interesting, but I don't know if we can read too much into that.
I'm just pointing out the facts, TJ. You can interpret and decide however you want. The most popular strategy, it looks like, is a Protect Warrior Ban Mage. I think that's been done, looks like 8 or 9 times so far.
That makes the most sense because you're protecting a very good tier 1 deck and removing
its worst matchup.
Its worst matchup.
Yeah.
And then you're across the board, even if you don't play Warrior, like you're giving yourself the best chance to have an advantage moving out of the ban phase.
Yeah, actually, it's been picked. I was only looking at part of the match history record in my notes here. It's actually picked like 12 to 13 times as one of the main strategies. So very effective. I feel like because it's been done a lot of times, though, it looks like it's around 5 and 7 or 6-6. I'll have to go back and actually manually count it. But these kinds of like decisions do make it very interesting just to collect data and see what the general results are. Still relatively small sample size. And if you want to follow along with us, too, you can always check it out at hearthstone.com/esports, where they put in the game history as well as everything with the protects and the bans.
Yeah, this season we also had player profiles, so you can click on a player.
Ooh!
And
we even have leaderboards where you can monitor TJ's current status.
Don't.
Legend of America.
Don't. I've fallen down.
I do remember seeing TJ looking at the leaderboard, seeing Chalky in the top 10, and kind of be like, oh, I gotta catch Chalky. And you were like, he was like 9, and you were like 10 or something.
He was 6, I was 7.
Oh, okay. Well, it was like something like 1 place removed.
Yeah. Just want to stay one step behind Chalky every second I can. But Fr0zen's gonna be playing the Highlander Hunter in this first game here. Reasonably standard list. I mean, as standard as Highlander decks can get. The only thing that sticks out to me is that Azalina Sulti, which Fr0zen actually has in 2 of his decks. He has it in his Warrior as well. I think that one thing that hunters sometimes struggle with is, you know, just resources in the later stages of the game. They're dumping their hand a lot, and in some matchups they can be in an all-in phase where they're just kind of dumping their cards and using their hero power to clock. Maybe Azalina can change that, but Monsanto's going to be on his Highlander Mage. Start things off. So I think advantage Fr0zen in this one. We saw him just wreck Mage yesterday with his Hunter deck. We'll see if he can do the same today.
Yes, I think Reno Hunter does a really good job against the Reno Mage. I think this version of Monsanto's deck list should put up a better fight. I do think that one of the unsung heroes of the Hunter that wants to put pressure against these slow mid-range / control decks is Eagle Horde Bow, because there's so many secrets that you can get, and you can get a lot of momentum, and you just get a lot of recursive damage. I think that the Acidic Swamp Ooze might be a big influential factor there.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, it's a might, because with Reno decks, you never know what half of the deck you're going to draw. I'm not really sold on things like Mossy Heart. I get where it's coming from. You know, there's a lot of decks out there that you want to make sure you don't die to, and you can just like stave off the aggression with having Mossy Heart hit a bunch of stuff, especially when it comes to like Priest and There's like Northshire Clerics and High Priest of Med and all these other things like Neverset and Ritualist. I just feel like it's not really that reliable.
Yeah, I think it's like specifically for priests, because I can't think of many other decks that are gonna that late into the game have a lot of two attack or less.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue has a lot. It has like lackeys and Miscreant and
that's
Pharaoh
where
Cat.
the evil Miscreant being cut is key.
Yeah, and you also hit incidentally like Tom's Warlock.
Hits a completely different region.
I mean, you hit the Zalay Shaman, which has a bunch of other small stuff.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It's fringe,
but you know, it's a preemptive tech card because you're anticipating Priest being a very good class. Both Highlander cards in Fr0zen's opening hand.
Nice.
You keep both of them.
Yep.
Okay. What about Pressure Plate? It seems like it could be a really good card against Mage too.
Sometimes, but I don't think it's good enough.
Well, if you're going to play Zephyrus, you're probably not going to play Pressure Plate on 2.
Yeah.
And you're also probably not going to play it on turn 3 either. Monsanto getting his Reno curve.
Also a Doomsayer.
So Fr0zen picking up the Double Trap. Can go for it on turn 4. The Aslan Soul Thief is an interesting inclusion as well here from Fr0zen. What do you think about it?
I am not sure about it in Mage. I love it in his Warrior deck. I think that's great inclusion in the Warrior that gives you so much power in the mirror. You don't putting an Archivist Elysiana is really only for the mirror. Whereas putting Azalina, it can get your opponent's Archivist Elysiana. It can also have game in other matchups. It also shores up, some of the, games where you just don't draw your big stuff and you empty your hand by 7. I think it could be very good in this game if Monsanto ends up trying to close the game out later on with Archmage Tinnitus. You just get the fireballs and kill your opponent that way. It's quite expensive. That's one of the things.
It's true. Monsanto has the opportunity to Doomsayer and try to stop the momentum of Fr0zen. Fr0zen picking up the Animal Companion to get maximum tempo. It was pretty much Animal Companion or Wild Growth, but it's not like he's curving into anything special. Fr0zen has 1 in 3 chance to eliminate this immediately. Otherwise, might have to take it a little bit slow.
Yeah, a 2 in 3 chance to waste an Animal Companion. I guess Liak wouldn't be a complete waste, but it'd be less damage than the hero power, so that doesn't seem good. I guess the argument is hero power or secret. Unless Fr0zen's just feeling super confident today.
Yeah.
Huffer every time.
Or lazy, one or the other.
I don't feel like thinking about this. Jam Animal Companion, push 3. Oh, Snake Trap.
So what the trap does is it messes with Monsanto's head for like how he chooses to do things. Like he pretty much has to play with respect to Rat Trap for the rest of the game.
Also opens up, unlocks Hyena Alpha as a draw off the top.
Yes, that is all true. Hyena Alpha and Mass Contender get much better off the top. That is one thing that I consider almost every time I play Highlander Hunter. On 2, if you have nothing to play and you have a secret, people say, oh, maybe just hero power to get more value out of my cards. But if you play your secret and you draw the exact card that you need, and there's 2 of them, so 2 out of 24, it's a very miraculous situation.
Miraculous. Wow.
Yes, it feels great. We get to play a 4-mana 7/7 that you anticipate drawing off the top because you set the preconditions for it. It's a literal miracle.
It's like a Tunnel Trog.
Yeah. 6 Wobblers. Testing out the snipe. Igor Hornbow.
Karma.
Oh man. Talk about missed connections. So a lot can be determined of what the secret is based off Fr0zen's way to interact with this this ooze. If he chooses to kill the ooze, it hides the secret. So that kind of information really messes with Monsanto.
It also kind of plups freezing in a way.
Yeah.
If Fr0zen had a minion, which is he could pretty confidently say he does. He could probably narrow it down to Animal Companion, because on an empty board like that, you're offered Bright Wing, Animal Companion, Wild Growth nearly every time if you played on 2.
To my side.
And Wild Growth would have been played on 3 into the Doomsayer.
Yeah, Monsanto having that Mossy Horror instead of, say, you know, those water elemental type situations. Ends up being a turn that he passes. It's got a sting. Can kill off this 4/4 with the Voodoo Doll instead of for a Reno.
That's decent.
What to do? What
It's
to
decent. I
do?
think the big thing that I'm looking for Monsanto is I want to save the coin for coin turn 8 into the Tortollan Pilgrimist. But he also has drawn a lot of the spells that he would want to pull off of it. The main thing would be to invest the Pilgrimist into a Luna's Pocket Galaxy.
What to do? What to do?
Like it. Fr0zen without the proper threats that he can play on curve. Struggling a little bit to find his footing here.
Yeah. And Spellbreaker it does have some decent targets in the deck, but
Your magic
not like
shall
massive.
not cease.
Snip Snap, Ziliax, and Cartoon Defender are pretty much the only ones. Sandbatter will pick up Mountain Giant, Siamat, or Zephyrus.
Yes.
He doesn't play any other elementals in the deck.
Still a pretty decent amount to hit for a 1 of.
Yeah.
What to do? What to do?
Wonder if Monsanto's thinking about Reno the Rilla Colleges in this point. I think he doesn't want to take too much damage from the 4/3. And if he wants to set up for a good Pilgrimist, Reno's pretty decent to fight back onto the board. He does have to think about also Brand. As a side note, Fr0zen not playing Freezing Trap probably feels really good in this spot.
Oh yeah.
Find me wherever the action is.
It's a dome.
It's such a good card. Every time I see it played against Mage, I always think, how do they win? I mean, I know how they win, but in this situation, no Luna's Pocket Galaxy. They're having to play everything, as you said earlier, at retail.
Well, this is a Flame Strike opportunity, but he will
What
be
to
accepting
do?
more damage from the
What
bow.
to
Yeah,
do?
which is scary. That's his whole turn, and he'd be effectively at 12.
Yes.
10 if you count the hero power. He has Alex Strauss to fall back on, and I think that makes this play a little bit more palatable.
Sure, but you know, Fr0zen playing, say, the Subject 9.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Hyena Alpha. That's even better.
Yeah, because Hyena Alpha, I believe, sets up lethal anyways past the Alex Straza. Oh boy.
Yeah. So now Monsanto's in a pick.
He has to Blizzard Ping. That's the only way he can survive.
Yep. And then if Fr0zen picks up a cheap beast, which
Well, he does have Spring Paw in the deck, right?
no, he does not.
Okay. No Shimmerfly?
There's actually no cheap beasts.
What to do?
No Animal Companion?
What to do?
He does have Animal Companion. The Animal Companion that he used was from Zephyrus. So Animal Companion is the only one. Because Unleash the Hounds wouldn't have a target, so it wouldn't summon anything.
There's something he does go with the Mossy Horror. I mean, sorry, the Blizzard. He could do like Mossy Horror, Freeze. He could do Alex Straza.
I wonder.
Alex Straza, of course, doesn't look that great when your opponent's showing 10. Or 12, rather, with the hero power.
Mossy Horror Freeze is... yeah, you go Freeze Mossy Horror, then you wouldn't play into Pressure
Runs out
Plate.
on me.
But if you play a minion here and you get it's Snipe, then you give another charge to the Eagle Horn Bow.
Well, the Eagle Horn Bow is at the point where, like, you might just lose anyways.
Yeah.
The Subject 9 here is also super scary. I wonder if, like, what's the best thing to play in this position for the secrets?
Pressure Plate.
Well, Snipe almost feels like it's a guaranteed charge that gets play, right? Your opponent has to play minions eventually.
I wonder.
And then there's also the secret option of Rat Trap, because what if your opponent has a combo?
Yeah, I think Snipe's the most guaranteed. Rat Trap plays around some fringe case scenarios. Like, best play for Monsanto here might be like Ray of Frost, Coin, Alexstrasza. Because if you just Alexstrasza, then you're effectively at 9 or 6. Sorry, you'd be taking 9, showing on board.
That's why I was thinking the secret option is Rat Trap, because you think Ray of Frost is like their way to come back.
Yeah, but that's you know, Coin is there, but like you're talking about immediate, and he's dead if he doesn't play Alexstrasza or heal.
What if he gets Zephyrus off the Sandbinder? He only has 3 mana remaining. That's not enough to do high impact stuff.
He could Healing Touch and then hope that Fr0zen like thinks he doesn't have Alexstrasza and goes all in. I don't know. It's just so difficult because Monsanto, not only does he have to survive, but then he has to find a way to win. Like, Alexstrasza is not the end-all, be-all solution. He needs to find a way to win afterwards, with Fr0zen still having, you know, secrets available, damage in his deck. He's got to go. He doesn't have time. And Alexstrasza is going to be the play.
Sees a snipe. And that is death. Right?
He's 1 off, but he can find it with Mark Shot or Animal Companion. Animal Companion 203. There you go. He found it.
There you go. That's death.
Yeah.
All right. The Reno Hunter getting over the hump. Unless Fr0zen disconnected. No, okay. Nah, he has like effective lethal showing on board.
Yeah.
There's no way. I'm pretty sure they would rule that in his favor. Monsanto's Reno Mage goes down, and Mage is still struggling against the Hunter.
Without a crazy start and Luna's Pocket Galaxy, Dave Dinotamer Brand, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, the Dinotamer brand is really powerful, but even just like the threat of the Eco Horn bow keep hitting, like we were talking about,
yeah.
and like the ooze got played, and then the bow got drawn, and then it hit like 4 times that game. I'm like, believe it or not, the bow probably did more damage than the Dinotamer brand.
9, yeah, it did.
Did it hit 3 times or 4 times? I don't know. And it could have hit it 4th time. That's the sick thing.
And maybe even a 5th time.
All right, well, we're going to go to a break for the 5th time. And when we come back, we'll have the rest of the series between Fr0zen and Monsanto.
My name is Sam Braithwaite, and I'm the Senior Global Franchise Lead for Hearthstone Esports. This event was especially cool because it takes place right after the brand new expansion, Rise of Shadows. Historically in Hearthstone Esports, we do our big events like this towards the end of an expansion cycle, but we really wanted to shake things up and really showcase that not only is the world champion the person who can pilot the best decks, but also the person who, when presented with a brand new game, can put together the best decks leading into the world championship. Cheers to you guys, the sold-out crowd here for the HCT 2019 World Championship.
Welcome back to 2019 HCT World Championship.
We've had a lot of fun games, and we're looking forward to the grand finals. Showdown. Viper versus Hunter Race. Only one can be the champion. Oh, come on!
Alex, match be dead.
Wacko pick a Vince coming out from Hunter Race.
It's now or never. Archvillain reform.
Okay! In a completely solved game, Hunter Race finds a way to maximize his chances. It's been a wonderful journey throughout the past few years of the Hearthstone Championship Tour, where stars were made and dreams came true.
Hi, I'm Monsanto. I came up with the username Monsanto. I was in high school. It's from the company Monsanto, the big evil corporation. One of my teachers hated that company so much that at the end of the year he told us, well, if you didn't learn anything from my class, it's okay, as long as you remember that you should hate Monsanto. And that was like such a big thing to hear from your teacher, and I just immediately changed all my usernames to Monsanto. My best Hearthstone Esports memory was in 2016 in summer prelims when I was facing Dude 7597. I was completely losing on board as Druid against the Zoo Warlock. I had played 5 spells during the game, then I jammed the Yogg-Saron on. It cleared his board, built myself a board, and the next turn I had double Savage Roar for lethal. What makes me special as a player, I think, is I try everything. I try every possibility in decks. I try new things. And so when there's something that went under the radar, there's a big chance that I actually found it and I can bring that deck. Being in Grandmasters means a lot to me. Being able to just compete another full year of Hearthstone, that was a really big thing for me. I want to win the whole thing. That's my personal goal.
Hearthstone Grandmasters will wrap up the first week of competition with the conclusion of Fr0zen and Monsanto. Currently Fr0zen up 1-0 after the Hunter able to crush, quite literally, the Mage. And Dino Brand again showing us why it is one of the most feared cards in the set, which Highlander Hunter continues to surprise people and show you guys at home why we pick Hunter as one of the classes to potentially rule the meta after all of the balance patch that comes out in about 12 hours.
Yeah, and I think all the Highlander cards were pretty underrated before the expansion hit. Maybe Zephyrus was up there just because people didn't really know what its potential was. It's insane, and I think people realized that it was insane. But Reno the Rollicologist and Dino Tamer Brand specifically were very undervalued.
Being very real, all of the League of Explorers legendaries are very good cards. It was all about whether or not the rest of the deck could support such archetypes. Like Elise, for example, that effect seems very open-ended and extremely powerful. If you're able to duplicate cards in your hand that can have multiple effects that only should be played one time per game, right? Like maybe you duplicate multiple Zephyrs, and that becomes really good. If you duplicate multiple Malagos or Forbiddenest Floops to combo stuff, really good stuff. But can the deck be consistent enough? Maybe, maybe not. We said the same thing about Bran, where it's like, yeah, if someone can crush on 7, it's just like great, and you get a lot of stats. But was the rest of Highlander Hunter good enough? And when we first saw cards like Hunter's Pack and a few other cards, like, yeah, maybe we can just see some play. But as we started putting things together with like the secret packages and taking out mechs and starting to go a little bit more consistent, overall we saw a lot more power out of this deck that curved consistently, that had game plans, as you point out, TJ, that are both aggressive and defensive.
Elise will be in a tier 1 deck by the end of the rotation, at the very least.
I mean, Sir Finley is also a very powerful card. When played on curve, that card is probably the best out of all 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't have a consistent Reno Paladin deck.
Yeah, not yet. They need a couple in a vacuum powerful Paladin cards to couple along with it. Because Sir Finley allows you to change your long-term game plan, whereas the other legendaries kind of just shore up a weakness in an otherwise like pretty strong Highlander deck. And I think like if Paladin gets a couple of just in a nutshell solid, very powerful on their own cards, then Sir Finley might see play. But that's a conversation probably for a later time. Let's get into this game number 2 here. Fr0zen on the Priest and Monsanto on the Rogue. I tend to feel okay about this matchup. From the Rogue's perspective, as long as you are 1, either on the coin, or 2, have a ton of stuff to do early game. Monsanto has effectively nothing to do early game.
Everything is like a card that requires a specific condition. Edwin has to have combo cards. You have to like preemptively combo Raiding Party and Viscerate. You have to have a weapon or Captain Greenskin. It is just an awkward curve.
Oh, jeez.
Monsanto with the deep blink. This is what I get as my reward for fixing my webcam.
I get this hand of all hands. He does have a couple of preps in the deck. You don't have to play prep with Raiding Party, but you kind of have to.
What's sort of interesting to me is that we were talking about how Tempo Rogue can run into some of these situations. Is this just really awful luck, you think, DJ, based off this draw, or do you think it's like a symptom of
options?
I think it's a symptom of
deck building?
There's both. This is a poor hand regardless of how you want to look at it. But I think that you can't try to do too many things as Rogue right now. You can't play for value and aggression. You can't play for like consistency of draw and aggression.
You can, it's just that it won't be very effective.
Yeah, if you do try and do multiple things at once, you'll find yourself in situations like this where you have a hand that needs a lot to come together, and Fr0zen's just kind of snowballing this game. And it's not even like he's all-inning onto this board. He has both copies of Extra Arms to follow it up, as well as a Psycho Pomp if Monsanto were to get rid of one of these minions.
So many options.
No weapons as well, because he wasn't able to combo Raiding Party. Just drew a couple of Dread Corsairs from his deck. And I mean, his hand is just so expensive. He can like sap Eviscerate, but sapping a minion that has not been buffed is
so many options.
not even a 1-for-1, because they get to replay it.
Right.
And it's the most premium removal that Rogue has against Priest. I don't know if you can afford to go for it. Yeah, that's the situation we're in currently.
That feels so bad. Wow. Monsanto is so desperate, he's playing the last card he wants to play in this game as one of his first cards.
Yep.
I mean, that could have been a whelp, but Monsanto was like, yep. Sap, Deadly Poison, he can Van Cleef.
He can sap Eviscerate, Deadly Poison, Dread Corsair.
Okay.
Maybe not even Dread Corsair. Maybe hold both Dread Corsairs.
He gets punished so bad by the extra arms too if he plays Dread Corsair. Oh man, there's
Yeah.
just no winning. Monsanto's dead.
Well, he would leave a 3-1 and a 1-1 on board, which is not the end of the world.
Right.
Because a
saying that
3-1 would trade into Dread Corsair, and you'd extra arms a 1-1, and then maybe Monsanto has another sap as an out to try and put himself back in the game. This is every minion that Fr0zen has. If he finds a way to pick apart this board, he does have a lot of big tools to follow it up. Swinging last turn with the dagger meant that you can't like bank this Deadly Poison and then Captain Greenskin next turn and go huge for tempo with double Dread
So
Corsair.
many options.
Well, he decided to Deadly Poison into the 3-1.
He says that, I think he's saying that if you have extra arms, you beat me. Brutal. Monsanto getting absolutely destroyed. Combination of terrible draws and a pretty good draw for Fr0zen.
Yeah, there is a 1-1 whelp in the pool. Nope, it's an injured Blade Master. How about the worst one?
That's a concede. Fr0zen wins the series 2-0. Monsanto gets blown out. And you know what? It's almost like poetic justice based off the fact that Monsanto yesterday had like a super ridiculous game 2 victory.
A 2-minute victory.
Yeah, and that's it. That was the last series of this patch, TJ, for Grandmasters. And it was a blowout victory by Priest.
What a way to go
extra
out.
arms.
Yeah.
So I think today we put on full display all the cards that are going to get nerfed in the upcoming patch for 15, I think, .2. With Dr. Boom, Conjurer's Calling, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, extra arms. The only thing that was missing was someone playing Barnes on
Barnes,
floor.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Wow, I see your true colors, TJ.
Dyslexic.
Good save.
Yeah, Fr0zen, both of his series have looked identical so far. He had a crushing victory yesterday and a crushing victory today. I think he played the same 2 decks in both of his wins. He played Priest and Hunter yesterday. He played Priest and Hunter today. He's kind of looking unstoppable right now. Monsanto had his grueling series yesterday. At least game 1 was grueling. 1-1 finish. Probably got to be disappointing. At least I'm sure his hopes were high after winning that series yesterday. But Fr0zen continuing his trend from Season 1 of being atop the division.
That's right. In fact, let's go ahead and look at what happened today so we can recap it for everybody at home. Muzzy started off with a 2-1 victory. It's not Strifeco's birthday anymore, so don't have to hold back, I guess. Eddie with a follow-up 2-1 victory over Gallon. Gallon tweets that he felt like he played all right, but he knows there's room for improvement. Looking forward to the patch. Sand 2-0 joining teammate Muzzy, who is also 2-0 for the week with a victory over Race. And that's really big because last season both of them started off very poorly.
Yeah, definitely a different story, at least for week 1 here for Team Radiance. And then the second portion of the day, we had Nalginon take a 2-0 over Firebat, making both those players going to week 2 with a 1-1 score. And Fr0zen 2-0 now with 2 2-0s over Monsanto, the 2020.
And after a couple of days of play, we have 2 players per division, which stand on top undefeated. However, this is a little bit of deja vu. We have Eddie and Fr0zen leading their divisions.
Yeah. They were in the same division last season, I think.
Yes, Fr0zen and Eddie were both in Division A.
Yeah.
Topping Division B were Monsanto and Dog for a while.
But I've seen that since we put the first place in division, we put their picture. I feel like Fr0zen's picture has been showing at the top of his division for the majority of weeks here in Grandmasters.
That's right. Of course, this is just the early weeks. A lot will continue to shape up. Next Friday, we're going to start off with Division B leader Fr0zen up against PNC. Then we have Strifeco versus ETC, who's looking to get his first win. And then Bloody Face and Race, both these players looking to see if they can improve on their 1-1 start.
Yeah, and a couple matches I'm particularly looking forward to on Friday, Zalay and Monsanto, and Amnesiac versus Saiyan.
That's got to be our featured match.
Yeah, ex-teammates, good friends, obviously practicing it this week since they came away with the same lineup. Looking forward to that one. Saiyan looking to continue his undefeated streak.
I'm specifically looking forward to see if Amnesiac can keep up that motivation that he tweeted out yesterday. He said after his loss to Race that he's never felt more motivated to be the best player since his World Championship run. He's like, this is the most motivated I felt in years to be the best player, and that he's not going to stop until he gets to that point. I think it was a combination of his uncharacteristic poor play plus Race just really outplaying him and dunking him for that one turn. Lit the fire under the Young Savage, and I can't wait to see if that's going to come back because I think motivated players that have the fiery sass to the caliber that Amnesiac has, some of the most fun that I'll ever have watching Hearthstone.
Especially players with just the talent that Amnesiac has. Yeah. Obviously, even at a very young age, was gifted. He won his first America's championship when he was 15.
That's right.
Back in 2016, the winter season.
Beginning of 2016.
Beginning of 2016.
3 years ago.
Yeah, it's what qualified him to the World Championship, where the infamous moment with him and Pavel happened with the Babbling Book. So now 18 years old, shipping off to college next week. Got a lot more maturity.
It's exciting.
Repertoire.
It's exciting to see how these players continue to develop and how the weeks and the league overall will continue to shape up because at the end of the season, we'll have 2 players, or 3 players rather, joining us at the Global Finals, and we'll have 4 players, 6 players rather. I keep forgetting that there's Asia Pacific as well. Apologies there. They're also going to be leaving us in relegation. It's going to be a lot of exciting times. Make sure you check out everything if you missed out part of the broadcast at playhearthstone.com/esports for VOD's deck list. player profiles, or if you just want to generally get to know more about the program, of how to sign up and join us on the Masters Tour. That's it from us, from Fr0zen, TJ, that's Admirable Sol, and everyone here in Studio 5 in Burbank, California. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.